Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Commander Justin Pogson. This evening, we warmly welcome the family of Sapper William Watson, who are watching the live stream of this ceremony. His story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by a representative of the family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. If able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Sapper William Maffey Watson. William Watson was born in Fremantle, Western Australia on the 19th of October 1988, the third of 9 children born to William and Edith Watson. The family moved to Victoria when William was an infant. As an adolescent, William served 9 months as a cadet with the 34th Fortress Company, an engineer unit in the militia. William completed his education at the Working Men's College in Melbourne, where he was trained as a carpenter and a joiner. William Watson was working as a carpenter when the First World War broke out in August 1914. He enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 1st of October 1917 at Elstonwick, Victoria, just shy of 19 years old. He had previously attempted to enlist, but had been rejected on the grounds of a weak heart. Assigned as an engineering reinforcement to the 1st Australian Tunnelling Company with the rank of Sapper, Watson was sent to Seymour in Victoria for basic training. He embarked for overseas service at Melbourne on the troop ship Indara on the 26th of November 1917. This draft of engineering reinforcements disembarked at Suez in Egypt on 27th of December, spending 2 weeks in Egypt before again embarking on the 9th of January. At Taranto in Italy later that month, Sapper Watson was admitted to hospital with an unspecified illness. He recovered quickly and entrained for France with the rest of his draft. The troops underwent a week-long train journey from Taranto to Cherbourg, France, and across the Channel to Southampton, England, disembarking on the 24th of January 1918. In mid-February, the reinforcements marched into No. 3 Camp at Park House, a training battalion for engineers. After specialist training, Watson and his draft proceeded to France in early April, eventually joining their unit, the 1st Australian Tunnelling Company. The Tunnelling Company was well known for its work in mid-1917 when its men dug under the German lines at Hill 60 in Belgium and detonated huge mines during the Battle of Messines. Their war on the Western Front was fought in large part underground. Deep mines and tunnels were constructed on both sides by specialist tunnellers, filled with explosives, then detonated. Typically, tunnels were dug by hand, with carpenters installing timber supports. The work was exhausting, with the constant threat of tunnel collapse and the enemy, who were also digging tunnels, overhearing their work and retaliating. Sapper Watson spent May and June building and repairing machine gun dugouts. The unit constructed a swimming bath in a nearby stream, a concrete cricket pitch. Though a specialist unit, they also undertook 2 weeks infantry training, including drill, bayonet fighting, musketry, and bombing. During the summer, the principal role of the Tunnelling Company shifted. Rather than building dugouts and gun emplacements, they focused on repairing railways, roads and bridges, and removing mines. In October, the tunnellers were working in Bussigny area. On the night of the 29th of October, 13 days before the armistice, enemy aircraft bombed the camp, killing 3 and wounding 9. Among the dead was Sapper William Maffey Watson. He was 20 years old. William Watson was buried at the nearby Bussigny Communal Cemetery Extension. His family chose the epitaph for his headstone, "The first broken link at rest." It is believed that the Scottish-born William Sr., William's father, who had returned to the United Kingdom in 1916 and was working in a munitions factory, delayed his return to Australia so that he could visit the grave of his son. Another son and elder brother of William, Robert Watson, also served in the First World War as a signaller. He survived the war and returned home. William's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sapper William Maffey Watson, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support of the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.